Okay, so this is Miss Fetterman's lesson that she gave today. She did a do now that we'll just skip because it was a review of what you and I just covered. So let's take a look at these practice problems. We'll do the first one together, and then after that I'll have you pause the video and do some on your own, and then we'll go over them. So, number 1. Journey has $100 total to spend on birthday presents for her 4 closest friends. She wants to spend the same amount of money on each friend. Write an inequality to express this relationship. Graph the inequality once you've written it. Okay, so she has 4 friends, and she needs to buy a present for. So we'll call that present P. So 4 presents times the cost of the present, which she said is going to be the same, needs to be less than or equal to 100. We want to know what is the cost of our present. So what is the most that we can spend on a present where we can buy 4 of them? They are all the same price, and they are less than or equal to 100. So I need to get P by itself. Right now, P is being multiplied by 4. So I'm going to do the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And this tells me that P is less than or equal to 25. So if Journey is going to buy 4 presents for her friends, and they're all going to be the same amount of money, the most expensive presents that she can buy would be $25. So now let's graph that inequality. Here's our number line. So I'm going to put right in the middle here 25. Over here maybe we'll make 20, 30, 35, 15. So this said less than or equal to. So my maximum is 25, and I'm going to put a closed circle there because 25 is included. Because if I buy 4 presents for $25, I'm going to spend exactly $100. So we will still be all set. But I can also spend less than 25. So that tells me I'm going to shade to the left. So this is what my inequality looks like for number 1. So with that in mind, there are 4 more on this page and a few on the back. So pause the video, take 10 or 15 minutes, and see if you can do these last inequalities, and then we'll go over them. Alright, so let's look at number 2 now. Jalen decides to become a pro surfer, and a surfboard rental company charges $45 to rent a surfboard and $12 for each hour. He can spend no more than $120. How many hours could Jalen rent the surfboard for? Okay, so if he wants to rent a surfboard, he has to pay $45, and then he also has to pay $12 for each hour. So I'm going to have my flat rate of $45, and then the hourly charge of $12, and he can spend no more than $120. So this is going to be less than or equal to 120. So I have my $45 that I have to pay, and I also have this 12, but this 12 is being multiplied by each hour. So if I rent the surfboard for 1 hour, I'm paying $12. If I rent it for 2 hours, I'm paying $24. 3 hours would be $36. So I need to multiply this 12 right here by my number of hours, which I'm going to call H. So this represents how much money I'm spending. And I know that Jalen can spend no more than $120. So the sum of this needs to be less than or equal to 120. Now, I need to figure out how many hours Jalen can rent the surfboard for. So I need to get H, which are the number of hours by itself. Right now, H is being multiplied by 12 and also having 45 added to it. So I'm going to get rid of this 45 and subtract 45 from both sides. So I can get 12H, my hours, is less than or equal to 75. 120 minus 45 is 75. Feel free to check my math there. So now I still have the 12H, and I just want H by itself. So I'm going to have to do the inverse operation of what is happening right now. So if it's being multiplied by 12, I need to divide both sides by 12. And that gives me H is less than or equal to 6.25. So we have a little bit of a dilemma here. This is saying that he can rent it for less than or equal to 6.25 hours. Now, the probability that a surfboard company will rent out for part of an hour is pretty low. So this tells me Jalen can rent the surfboard for less than or equal to 6 hours. So I'm going to graph my inequality here. If I put 6 less than or equal to, tells me I'm going to have a closed circle with my arrow going to the left. But there's one thing I want you to consider, is that Jalen cannot rent the surfboard for negative hours. That doesn't make sense. So when we're thinking about real life situations, we have to think that there is going to be another endpoint. So he can rent it between 0 hours and 6 hours. So in total, that will look like 0 is less than or equal to H is less than or equal to 6. So this is my inequality, representing the number of hours that he can rent the surfboard for, and this is how it's written on a number line. Alright, number 3. Keontae has $60 in his bank account. He starts a lawn mowing business charging $9 per lawn. How many lawns will he have to mow until he has more than $120? Now this 120 is the total. So Keontae starts with 60, and then he's going to get $9 per lawn. So if he mows one lawn, his total would be 69. If he mows 2 lawns, his total would be 78, and so on. So I'm going to have the $60, which is what he started with, plus $9 per lawn times, we'll call it Y, the number of lawns that he works. And he wants more than, so strictly greater than, 120. Now, how many lawns will he have to mow until he has more than this? So how many lawns tells me I need to find out what's this Y. So just like we did for the last one, we're going to isolate Y by subtracting 60, which gives me 9Y is greater than 60. Divide both sides by 9 to get Y is greater than 60 divided by 9 is 6.67. And so he can't mow part of a lawn, so Keontae is going to need to mow more than 7 lawns. So this is my inequality. Y is greater than 7. Now I need to write this on my number line. So again, 7 in the middle there. So it's going to be actually greater than or equal to 7, because if he mows 7 lawns, he will end up with more than that $120. So I'm going to have another closed circle here at 7, and since it's greater than or equal to, my line is going to be shaded to the right like that. Alright, number 4 starts right here. Children under the age of 7 at IHOP eat for free. So, write an inequality to show this relationship, where X is going to be the age of the children who eat for free, and it tells me under the age of 7, so they need to be less than 7 years old. So they can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can be 6.5. They can be 6 and 300 days. They can be 6 and 350 days. But the day that they turn 7, they can no longer eat at IHOP for free. So, on the number line, I have 7 there. 6, 5. And this is going to be an open circle, because the day that they turn 7 years old, they can no longer eat at IHOP. And we are going to have it shaded in this direction. Now, again, just like this one we did up here, it would have to stop at 0, because a child cannot be less than 0 years old. That doesn't make sense. So if 0 was over here, our inequality would look like that. So we could rewrite this as 0 is less than or equal to x, which is strictly less than 7, because again, the day that they turn 7 years old, they can no longer eat at IHOP for free. Alright, we'll do one more. So, Miss Fetterman's class wants to raise money for a class field trip to Nashville Shores. They decide to sell t-shirts to raise money, and they make $14 on each t-shirt. Their goal is to raise at least $500. Write an inequality to represent this. So, the price of the t-shirts, which is $14, times the number of t-shirts, we'll call that T, needs to be at least 500, so greater than or equal to 500, because we know that the price of the t-shirts times the number of t-shirts that they sell will give us the total money they make, and we want that to be greater than $500. So how many t-shirts do we need to sell? So we need to get T by itself here. Now technically this is correct. We could leave this like this, but it's going to be more valuable for us to know how many t-shirts we need to sell. So if we divide by 14, 500 divided by 14 is 35.714. 14t divided by 14 is t, so you just get t is greater than or equal to 35.714. But again, we can't sell part of a t-shirt, so we need to sell t greater than or equal to 36 t-shirts. On our number line, I'm going to put a closed circle here at 36, and then I need greater than or equal to, so I will be shading to the right. So this is what this relation looks like on a number line. Right here is the inequality to represent the number of t-shirts that I need to sell to make more than make at least $500. So hopefully at this point you're feeling confident about the exit tickets. Feel free to do the few practice problems on the back. They're similar, but more practice would be great. And then take a stab at the exit tickets and send them back to me. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to call. Good luck.